In this video we're going to make some bullet pixel props. Okay, let's get started with a snowflake. We'll use Wikimedia Commons to find an SVG just of a simple snowflake. If you search snowflake, set your file type as SVG, you should find a bunch of different snowflakes that you can use. We'll just use this simple one, and then we'll get the original file, so we'll save that. And now we've got an SVG of a simple snowflake. We'll drag that onto Lightburn. Let's make it, say, just for this video, 350, 35 centimeters. And then we've got a basic snowflake outline. Let's set up the bullet pixel. So we'll again want this to be 11 millimeters for the 12 millimeter pixels. So we've got an 11 millimeter pixel there. Let's bring this here, something like that. Highlight the lot, and then we'll align the centers so it's in the center. And then we'll select that and we'll make an array. And what we want to do is duplicate this and make it 24 millimeters. You can make it 25.4 millimeters if you want exact 1 inch spacing, but I'm just going to use 24 millimeters, and we'll generate a row. We'll say 6. That looks good enough. So now we've got 6 pixels. We want to highlight them all. We'll just select and deselect that one. So we'll come over to the array tool, and now I've made 6 copies. You'll see there's 6 copies, and that fits within the snowflake we're using perfectly. So now it's duplicated 6 times. So now we want to set up a guideline so we can align these pixels here, because we're going to have to add these in manually. So the easiest way is to use the offset tool over here. You want to select the snowflake and then use the offset tool. We want to make that inward, and then just bump this up until you've got sort of a line around the pixels, and that looks good enough. So now we'll use that as a guideline of where we want the pixels. So now we'll copy paste 2 of these pixels because we want to keep the spacing. So we'll select those 2 and then Control C to copy them. Control V over here. Let's group them. You could use Control G or just click group up the top. So now we've got those 2 pixels, and we can sort of just line them up. We'll copy them again. Now we've got them grouped. Doesn't have to be perfect, but that'll do. Now we can make another copy, paste, and then we'll just mirror it, and then we'll put it on the other side. That looks good enough. Now we can take these 4, so we'll highlight them all, and we'll copy, we'll group those first, and then we'll copy them and then paste. So now we've got that as a single piece, and then we want to mirror it again, so we'll flip it that way and bring it in there somewhere. So now we've got the top and bottom done. We want to do the sides, so let's paste it again, and we'll just manipulate it, spin it around. That looks good enough. And then we'll paste it again. We'll come down here, spin it around again. Oop. Now we've got those two in, we can make a copy of this one to make it a little bit easier, and then just flip it and then drag it over to here. Looks good enough. Do the same for the bottom one. Copy that, paste it, flip it, and then we'll put it down here. It's good enough. And then we've pretty much got the snowflake built. So we'll get rid of our guidelines by selecting it and then delete, and then get rid of that middle one. I don't want it there, but you can leave it obviously. And then there's our snowflake. Obviously you can set your original size of the SVG and then put the pixels in, and that'll give you your total size of the model. But we'll just group that and then put it all in the same layer, and there you go. That's a snowflake. As you see, that's what the laser will cut. So you can cut that out of Coro. You can use other snowflakes in Wikimedia, like there's plenty of different designs, but this will give you an idea how to do it just simply. And then yeah, now we'll move on to something else. Alright, let's do a candy cane. So we'll get rid of that, and then back to Wikimedia Commons, and we'll use, that looks good enough. Use that candy cane. So we'll take the original file again. We'll save it. Okay, we'll drag the candy cane onto Lightburn, and we'll make the height say 580. It's a little bit more difficult because we've got more going on in the SVGs. So what we'll do is we'll ungroup it, and we'll just take the outside layer, and we'll get rid of the rest of that. Now we want to make the pixel again, so I'll circle 11 millimeters. And then we want to create an array again, and we'll say 3 wide by about 12. That looks good enough. So we'll take those, put them there. Okay, so now we'll take 6 of these. We'll just copy them, paste them. We'll put them over here. Let's just group those. We'll take another 3, copy paste those, and we'll group those. We'll copy it again, now it's grouped. So we want to do a guideline again. So let's use the offset tool. And 12 looks good enough. Same as before, inward, offsets, 12. Looks good enough. So now we can just line these up. And we'll highlight these and group them together. And we'll just move those down. Looks good enough. So now we'll take these, we'll press your period key or your greater than key, that'll flip those. Put them about in the middle at the top somewhere. Obviously this is going to take a bit of finessing. You want to start you want to start angling these. You get the idea though, what you need to do here. So that's the idea anyway. You see what you need to do. You just repeat the process of what we started until you get to the end of it. Line them up how you want. Group them. You know, you can spend a lot of time on that, getting it perfect, but for the purpose of this video, you see exactly what you need to do. You can get rid of your outline once you're happy with where your holes, everything are. Get rid of the outline, and then basically you've got a candy cane, and that's what the laser will cut. Now we can quickly try something else, say like a spinner. Get rid of that. If you wanted to do just like a simple spinner, you get your pixel again, 11 mils. And then you go to the array tool, and I don't know how many you want, but let's just say 12. So we got a row of 12, and then we'll go over to the circular array tool here, and then how many arms do you want? Keep mindful of the spacing in the middle there. You could have 10 arms. You could really bunch them together, but let's say 10 arms, and we'll be happy with that. So now we've sort of got a spinner. So we'd highlight that whole lot, and let's just say we'll group it together so nothing moves around. So now we want to add a line for the outside cut of this. So with it all selected, go to Arrange and then go Create Rubber Band Outline from Selection. And that'll give us a sort of an outside cut so the laser can chop that out. And you could leave it like that if you want. Obviously you're going to be very close to those pixels. So this is where you use the offset tool. And then we go outward and say how much space do you want from the pixels. Let's say 20 mil. And now we've got 20 mil out. So we can get rid of that inner line. And then basically there's a spinner. If you wanted to have these as arms, you could create triangles and put triangles in here. So to do a triangle, you use the polygon tool. So we'll select the polygon, and now we will come over to shape properties, and now we want to make the sides 3. So that'll give you a triangle. And now it's just a matter of adjusting this to suit how you want it. Put it say there like that. Copy paste it. Gives you a rough idea. So now you'd cut that triangle out as well. You'd have these as arms. You can make them wider, you know, set it up how you like with the first triangle, which which is always the best way. You just set up your first triangle, the width, everything. You do all of that in the first one. And then once you've got that one set, you just copy paste it and add it in. Just line up the back line as you go around. And then once the laser cuts it, you can have spaces there, or you could just leave it as a wheel like that. It's not going to make much difference at night with the pixels in it. And usually I remove the inner pixel, so we just ungroup those. And then I take that middle pixel and just get rid of it. And then you can group them all again. And there's, you know, a simple spinner. You obviously could add more arms if you wanted when you were doing the circular array. Less, you could overlay two different shapes and wire it up in two separate, so you could have, say, a star in there, or and a spinner, you know, and then wire the two up separately and have two different props in one. You could, say, take this, copy paste it if you want, and then just slightly rotate it if you wanted to. You could experiment with doing something like that. You know, there's plenty of different ways you can go about it. You could add a snowflake in there. The world's your oyster, I guess. You can also make this a circle if you didn't want it with edges like that. You just take that and say it's 820 wide, we'll say. So we can just delete that. Group those back together, and then get a circle, make it 820. So give us a rough size shape. It's probably gonna a little bit oblong, but if we highlight them all, we can go up here to align centers, and it'll push the two shapes together perfectly so they're centered. And now unlock the aspect. Probably just drag that down a bit just so it looks more. It's good enough. And then just lock the centers again and then group them. And now you get a round spinner. Same as the other one, but just round. Now if you wanted to make, say, like gutter lines or window lines or pixel poles, anything like that, they're fairly easy. You can get rid of all of this. It's the same thing every time. You know, pixel props and stuff, they're easy as. Again, you just make your bullet pixel hole, and then make an array. How many arrays? We'll go on the X. How many do you want? Whatever. And then you can just add your cut line around it. You just add a square. And then you can put in little holes or squares for cable ties. So just, you know, just quickly whack that there, whack that there. You get the idea. Another one there, another one there. And this is, you can make roof lines and all of that. Obviously you set all these nicely, but just for this, you can see it's pretty much simple. If you wanted to make pixel poles, we'll just take that 11mm pixel hole again. If you wanted to make a pixel pole, it's the same again. You create an array. Say we want it 4 wide. whatever high, and then you can just again put a square around it, and then you'll cut that out. It's the same as the roof lines. You can pretty much come up with whatever you like. Just, it all comes down to is putting 11mm holes in shapes. You can import all sorts of shapes from Wikimedia. You could search for stars. You know, you can use, you know, a star like that. As long as you import SVGs, they're pretty universal to work with. And then you just put pixel holes in there by using the array tools. You've got your circular array, and your like your square array, and then your offset tool to give you lines around it. Yeah, hopefully this helps you create your own pixel props with your own lasers. And yeah, you see how easy it is to do.